There was a terror attack this morning in Dallas at the Dallas ICE offices by downtown. It's crazy because this is not the first terror attack on our ICE officers in North Texas or in Texas. One of the first ones we had was only 3 months ago, roughly, in July at Alvarado, where we have, it's just outside of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, where we have an ICE detention facility. The weekend around July 4th is when terrorists, leftist terrorists, showed up and were blasting off fireworks and were spraying graffiti on ICE officers' cars so they could draw them out to then kill them. The ICE officers didn't take the bait. They called 911. Alvarado police officers came out, and as soon as the officer stepped out of his squad car, he was fired upon by the terrorists. He fired back, killing one of them, and a total of, I think, 10 or 11 or maybe even up to 13 terrorists have been arrested. They had different AR-15 style rifles and such. So that was a serious terror attack on our ICE facility in North Texas and Alvarado. Then, one story that didn't get much attention at all. Last month, there was a man who was arrested, I think a 36 or 39-year-old man who was arrested for threatening to blow up the ICE facility where this terrorist attack happened. So this is the third terror attack in North Texas alone against ICE. They are trying to intimidate and even kill our ICE agents. This is what's happening right now in our country and right now in North Texas. I'm also not mentioning the terror attack that happened on the border. I can't remember if it was the McAllen area or the El Paso area, but one of those sectors, maybe Eagle Pass. But if you recall, there was a terrorist there also that was trying to murder ICE agents who were going into an ICE facility. So there are leftist terror attacks regularly against our ICE officers. I'm going to play you some audio in a second of Gavin Newsom. He literally seems to have encouraged the attack today from what he said last night. But first, the facts. Let me show you this picture that was just released by ICE a couple hours ago. You can see, if you look closely on those bullet casings, there it is written, anti-ICE, on the bullet casing by the terrorist, according to the FBI and DOJ, along with the ICE folks. So you had a terrorist who gets up on a building, a perfect sniper's perch. Is this sounding familiar? Leftist terrorist sniper perches? Up on a sniper perch, he sees, according to the reports we have as of right now, unmarked vehicles, unmarked vans. They turn out not to be ICE vans or some other federal vans, but they're bringing in ICE prisoners that they arrested. So a van comes up to the sally port, which is where they take the prisoners, they unload them, and they load them into the prison. So the van pulls up to the sally port, and some terrorist then shoots from a perch above to try to kill the ICE agents in the vehicle. You can't see through the doors, the windows. The windows are all blackened for protection. Now you know why. By the way, now you know why our officers, ICE officers, wear face covers, face masks. There was a man in California that just got arrested and faces up to, I think, 5 years in prison, maybe 10 years, for doxing an ICE agent in, I think it was San Diego. So it is already happening. So now they attempted to murder an ICE agent, and this morning, instead of that, the terrorist killed one or two illegals, and there's a third or fourth that are injured. No ICE agents, no federal officers were injured or hurt in any way as of right now. Second of all, once the Dallas police showed up, the terrorist shot himself in the head. There's pictures of it. It's on my Twitter feed. I'm not going to play it here on this. It's just too grotesque, but trust me, the pictures look darn real to me. So we have another leftist terrorist who's trying to murder our ICE agents. Let's go to some of the rhetoric from the left. This is, oh, by the way, Laura Loomer put this out. The terrorist name has been released by multiple journalists and others, including the Daily Mail and such. Joshua John is the alleged terrorist who tried to kill our ICE officers, then killed himself. He is 29 years old, and he, according to this post from Laura Loomer, it says that he's from Fairview, Texas. Fairview is in Collin County, just north of Dallas. So this is hyper-local where this guy is reportedly from. Here's Gavin Newsom last night encouraging people to push back on ICE. Listen to this. This is where people get encouraged to commit violent acts against ICE.
That's happening in the United States of America. Masked men jumping out of unmarked cars, people disappearing, no due process, no oversight, zero accountability, happening in the United States of America today. People ask, well, is authoritarianism, you're being hyperbolic? Bull, we're being hyperbolic.
It's authoritarianism. What do you do to authoritarianism? How do you fight authoritarianism? Or do you just let it be authoritarianism? Well, here's what Gavin Newsom says.
If you're a black and brown community, it's here in this country.
Black and brown, you're living in fear. So if you're a white 29-year-old in North Texas and you're a leftist and you've been radicalized online and by leftist politicians like Gavin Newsom, you're going to do this, especially because you're a guilty white liberal. You're going to do this for black and brown people, in Gavin Newsom's own words.
And so I'm deeply proud that I had the privilege of signing the nation's first bill to address the issue of masking, also to require...
He knows that he can't stop federal officers from masking. It's the supremacy clause, so he's lying right there. Oh, it's from masking. No, you can't stop them from masking, and they're going to.
You have simple identification, to your point. I mean, if some guy jumped out of an unmarked car in a van with a mask on, tried to grab me, I mean, by definition, you're going to push back.
So Gavin Newsom is encouraging violence. Push back means push back. That's a felony. That's violence against our officers. So here he is claiming they're not showing identification. It says police, ICE. It doesn't have to say anything else. Police is fine. ICE is fine. Doesn't matter. It says it. We all know who they are. He's lying. The leftists are lying. Unfortunately, there are leftists like the accused terrorist today who appears to be anti-ICE. Obviously, he said anti-ICE on the bullet casings, who can't hear this without committing violent acts.
And so these are not just authoritarian tendencies. These are authoritarian actions by an authoritarian government. You saw what Stephen Miller said last week. This should put chills up fine. Called the Democratic Party an extremist organization. Basically a terrorist organization.
Well, dude, you just encouraged terrorism that happened today. So, yes.
Saying he's going after his enemies. You saw the tweet that Donald Trump sent out, Truth Social, basically telling Pam Bondi, I want these 3 people taken out. That's happening in the United States.
Well, Gavin, you've encouraged terrorism to happen. You said that. He said that last night on Stephen Colbert's show, and today we have people dead. Not ICE agents. He tried to kill ICE agents, according to everything we're seeing, but instead he killed illegals. Here is the Dallas ICE facility director. Apparently, he manages all these areas, including Alvarado, which was attacked, and now this facility off of, I think it was Harry Hines or Stemmons Freeway by downtown Dallas. Here he is.
Officer in North Texas for your support. This is the second time I've had to stand in front of you and talk about a shooter at one of my facilities, and I think that the takeaway from all of this is that the rhetoric has to stop. There are people out there who are seeing what is being placed online, and they're coming and they're doing acts of violence against ICE employees. So that's kind of all I have for today, is that it's just got to stop. It's dangerous, and people are losing their lives.
I was wondering, I was filling in this morning in Phoenix, and I was wondering aloud on the radio, how many violent incidents will it take for the left to stop demonizing ICE? How many deaths or murders could it take before they'll stop? Jimmy Kimmel, which we'll get into in a little bit, did not apologize last night. It was a total non-apology. He wasn't owning his words. He didn't admit that he lied. Jimmy Kimmel has his own, according to audio I've played for you on my previous podcast, Jimmy Kimmel says, I have a large staff of researchers. Everything we say on the air is researched. It has to be. We got to be right. So Jimmy then knew that it was a lie, that it was MAGA people, and MAGA was trying to cover up the murderer of Charlie Kirk, the assassin of Charlie Kirk. So he knew it was a lie. But one of the things I wondered aloud this morning in Phoenix is how many people will need to be murdered before they'll stop. I don't think they ever will. I think what we need to do is call this out, vote the right way, and don't give an inch, and don't back down on any of this crap. Don't do anything illegal, but don't back down on any of this crap. Hold them accountable and expose this crap. Let me play some more. This is from MSNBC this morning. This is insane. Here you have, this is a so-called expert, and he is literally saying that the terrorist this morning in ICE, who wrote anti-ICE, is doing the same things that white supremacists do.
The irony with the writing, the first time we really saw that was Brenton Tarrant in the Christchurch shooting in a mosque in New Zealand, and he was a fierce, white supremacist and neo-Nazi, and wrote all over his weapon and his rounds very hateful information. So to see this coming from, potentially the other side of the political spectrum is a little strange, because it is not something, if you are trying to, carry out some kind of message countering, more extreme right-wing stuff, I don't know why you would, use a tactic that a famous white supremacist who has been revered and copycatted over the years.
Nobody knows who the hell this guy is in New Zealand. The last person who put etchings on a bullet was this morning at a Dallas terrorist attack against ICE. The last person before that to put etch on a bullet was a radical leftist terrorist who killed Charlie Kirk. The last person before that etched on bullets was the terrorist who was accused of murdering a United Healthcare executive, Luigi Mangione, who is a leftist. This guy is a liar. And it is so disgusting where they can't just say, this is a left-wing terrorist. Here's what happened. It's just sick, isn't it? Isn't it sick? Oh, well, this is strange. It doesn't make sense. He has to be a white supremacist because he put etchings on a bullet. So the last 3 terror attacks have to be white supremacists. Luigi Mangione is a white supremacist. The guy in jail for murdering Charlie Kirk is a white supremacist. This guy this morning is a white... Why? Because he wrote on the bullet. So they can write on the bullet, I love black people. I hate white people. I love black people. I am a left-wing terrorist. And he would still say, he's a right-wing terrorist, a right-wing white supremacy. Classic white supremacy. So this is the garbage that we're dealing with in that world. So to make it really clear, the left's attack on our ICE officers have put a target on their back and have encouraged and emboldened people to commit terrorist acts against our ICE officers. And I said it this morning, I'm going to say it again right now. When you attack them, you attack us. Our ICE officers represent us. They are us. When you attack a police officer, you attack us. When you attack ICE, you attack us. When you attack a sheriff's deputy, you attack us. ICE, police, officers are our domestic military, and they are to be revered and respected just as much as our military, and I thank God for them. And I want them to cover up their faces. I don't want one of them to be doxxed. They are now needing to have, they already have their head on the swivels. We know that the violent incidences of violence has skyrocketed 1,000% against ICE agents. Now bullets are flying to kill them. Bullets are flying to kill them, and we still can't tell the truth? Now on to Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel did not apologize. Jimmy Kimmel issued a non-apology. He did not apologize. He is not sorry. He did cry. Jimmy loves to cry. Doesn't he love to cry? He loves to cry. Here's his non-apology.
Have to stand up to it. I've been hearing a lot about what I need to say and do tonight, and the truth is, I don't think what I have to say is going to make much of a difference. If you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't. I have no illusions about changing anyone's mind, but I do want to make something clear because it's important to me as a human, and that is, you understand that it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man.
He's crying again! Jimmy's crying again! I know all there is to know about the crying game. About the crying game. Jimmy is crying again.
Stop whining.
So, here he is crying again. And making it all about himself. But let's continue on. Hold on. I
have to stand up to it. I've been hearing a lot about what I need to say. I don't think there's anything funny about it. I posted a message on Instagram on the day he was killed, sending love to his family and asking for compassion.
He's not crying for Charlie Kirk. He's crying for himself. He's not emotional for Charlie Kirk and Charlie's wife. He's crying and emotional for himself. You know what I've been through? I've been through so much. Because you lied. You lied about the murder of Charlie Kirk. And he still lies.
And I meant it, and I still do. Nor was it my intention to blame any specific group for the actions of what it was obviously a deeply disturbed individual. That was really the opposite of the point I was trying to make. But
you did intend to blame it on somebody. You said it was MAGA. In fact, 7 days ago, Jimmy Kimmel said these exact words. The MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them. Jimmy Kimmel said that Charlie Kirk, who is MAGA and got Trump elected, had MAGA hats everywhere, Charlie Kirk got himself killed. Trump and Charlie Kirk got Charlie killed, is what he said. He said anything other than one of them. In other words, it is MAGA, and it was MAGA. He is a liar. Today, he says this.
I understand that to some that felt either ill-timed or unclear, or maybe both. And for those who think I did point a finger, I get why you're upset. If the situation was reversed, there's a good chance I'd have felt the same way. I have many friends and family members on the other side who I love and remain close to, even though we don't agree on politics at all. I don't think the murderer who shot Charlie Kirk represents anyone. This was a sick person who believed violence was a solution.
So here, 7 days ago, he said, the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them. Today, 7 days later, he says, I don't think the murderer who shot Charlie Kirk represents anyone. So he's gone from representing MAGA to no one. Jimmy never said, and I'm going to read what Andrew Colvett, the executive producer of Charlie Kirk's show, said. Andrew Colvett said, quote, and he's right, not good enough, Jimmy. It's simple. Here's what you need to say. I'm sorry for saying the shooter was MAGA. He was not. He was he was of the left. I apologize to the Kirk family for lying. Please accept my sincere apology. I will do better. I was wrong. And Andrew Colvett is exactly right. And Jimmy Kimmel will not tell the truth that he was lying. Jimmy Kimmel will not say it was not MAGA. Instead, it was a leftist terrorist, and the left needs to own this and figure out why this is happening. But he won't. So it was a non-apology. He's not sorry. He's crying because he is in big trouble because everybody knows he's a liar and he got caught. And he's crying because it's all about him and his emotions. So it's a non-apology. Sinclair Broadcasting and Nexstar Broadcasting comprise almost 30% of Jimmy's 280 affiliates. So if you look at that, he's going from 280 affiliates as of right now. We'll subtract about 70 of them. So he's going from 280 to 210. But here's the thing. A lot of them are in some pretty good-sized markets. Seattle and Portland. Those two combined are at least 5 million people. D.C. also apparently is one of the ownerships that I just mentioned. So, and there's other cities across the country, like there's Grand Rapids, which probably has about 800,000 to 1 million. New Orleans, which has about 1.5 million. So I mean, you get this. You're looking at maybe 20 million people total that can't even watch it if they want to. So his ratings are going to suck even more, and they already did. He was the lowest of the late night comedies. Yeah, he's not comedy either. It's just late night leftist stuff. In fact, speaking of which, I've got this great little chart of left-leaning guest list of late night shows. Jimmy Kimmel, this is from January of 2023 to July 2025. So this is a year and 7 months. In a year and 7 months, Jimmy Kimmel had 58 liberals on and 2 conservatives. Stephen Colbert had 176 liberals and 1 conservative Republican. Seth Meyers had 68 liberals and 0 Republicans. Jimmy Fallon had 41 liberals and 2 Republicans. You could trust them. Comedy is their comedy is not biased. We also got this. Charlie Kirk's memorial had 20 million live viewers on streaming and cable TV. Turning Point USA's partners have tracked a total of 100 million viewers across internet platforms. So it was amazing. It was powerful. I talked to you about it the other day. Oh, here is Brian Stelter, by the way. Brian Stelter, he's a cringy dude, man, a creepy guy with a lisp. Where's Humpty Dumpty? Here he is. He thinks Kimmel is now untouchable.
He's probably going to have the biggest audience of his career, and he can say just about anything. In some ways, Kimmel's now the safest person on TV, with the most freedom, the most autonomy, because ABC has actively, constructively chosen to bring him back on television, despite President Trump's criticism, despite the FCC's threats, despite all of this attention in the past week.
They're going to write out his contract, and they're going to fire him and end the show like they did with Colbert. You had Shari Redstone, who was Sumner Redstone's wife. She's the widow of Sumner. And she said, I love Stephen Colbert, but he was losing money. We made the decision months before we even pulled a plug on him because he's losing money. I mean, Kimmel gets paid $6 million a month. Colbert's show is losing $40 to $50 million a year. So you can only imagine what Kimmel's losing. And by the way, I do agree that FCC Chairman Carr, ruined it because I do believe that, what's his name, Kimmel would have been fired if Chairman Carr didn't come out and say, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. That was not smart. That was stupid because they would have handled it on their own. It was a perfect way to get out. Let's listen to this, too. We got some other... Here's Dan Coe, who is a former Biden official, versus Peter Meyer, a former Republican congressman from the state of Michigan. Listen to this back and forth on the allegations of censorship.
This action. They're afraid of the government is exactly what Donald Trump did.
Who was silenced? Nobody's silenced. We're not.
Jimmy Kimmel was taken off the air. You have universities afraid to speak their mind. You have research being completely
we talk
defunded.
About the blue and the red division. Every single one of the reasons why the FCC has a role is because these are broadcast stations with a monopoly that was granted by the government.
Do you feel good about?
No, and I would hate it if the federal government came in and said, you may not say that. The reason why Jimmy Kimmel got himself into the first place is he was repeating a lie believed by 1 in 3 Democrats that the person who assassinated Charlie Kirk
had
right of center beliefs.
He did not say that.
And we have spent way more time treating Jimmy Kimmel as a victim than the person who was shot and killed in front of their wife and children.
Let me ask you a question. If Joe Biden took down a prominent right-wing personality on TV for what he or she said, would you endorse that?
You're hypothetical if the Biden administration went and jawboned, let's say, social media platforms.
I'm talking about a similar allegory of someone on TV
hundreds of conservatives.
Will you answer my question?
No, that is literally what the administration that you served did. Google just released
a broadcast TV host taken down.
Jimmy Kimmel could go on MSNBC tomorrow. He's going back on ABC tonight. This man has not been silenced. Charlie Kirk's been silenced because he's dead. A lot of conservatives were silenced on social media platforms because the government threatened those social media companies. Facebook, Google, Twitter. You can go down all the list. YouTube, again, just acknowledged to Congress today that they did that at the behest of the Biden administration.
I think my favorite part was said that Charlie Kirk has been silenced. He has been censored. He's dead. Still isn't enough. The left's still like, we're victims. Jimmy Kimmel's a victim. How? He's on the air. It's ABC News, ABC's decision. So, and they chose to keep him on, which is their right. It's America. Here is, this is going to make you, I think it's going to make you very upset. Made me upset. The Mets announcers, the New York Mets played the Cubs, and they decided to, in the middle of the game, attack Matt Shaw, who is a Cubs, I think is a third baseman. Matt Shaw was friends with Charlie Kirk. Matt Shaw is an evangelical Christian like Charlie Kirk. Charlie took a picture with Matt, another Cubby, on the field not too long ago, very recently, and Matt says that Charlie would text him after every game. So they were friends. Erica Kirk asked Matt Shaw to come to Charlie's memorial. On the day of Charlie's assassination, Matt took the day off as well. Now comes the Mets, their announcers, in the middle of the game to attack Matt Shaw. Here we go.
Home fourth inning. Oscar Brosbon's retired 5 in a row. Matt Shaw leads off for the Cubs. He had a base hit his first time up. Shaw had Cubs World in a tizzy this weekend when he was not here for the Cubs game with the Reds. A game they lost 1-0, and in which his lack of presence was felt. It was later revealed that he had been given permission to attend Charlie Kirk's funeral.
There we go. Let's get this in here. Let's get him. Let's knife him. Yeah. Let's make him look like a right winger or an extremist. It's his fault. He's the reason Charlie's dead. Just like Jimmy Kimmel said. MAGA!
And I don't want to talk about any of the politics of it, but the thought of leaving your
You just did.
team in the middle of a race for any reason other than a family emergency really strikes me as weird.
It's unusual. I think it's unprecedented, at least from my experience as a player. And I think it made it a little bit more unusual that it was not revealed until after it came to issue, because he was thought to be in the dugout and maybe available, and then was not, and that's how it was revealed. So it became maybe more of a story than it could have been had it been addressed from the beginning.
Shaw strikes out to start the inning.
Well, he is not in charge. Matt's not in charge of the Cubs public relations team. So,
do you think the fact that he's a rookie changes the equation at all?
And he's still bringing it up.
It makes it more or less egregious?
As I said, I think that's something that would certainly be unusual during my era. But then again, there was no paternity leave. There was.
All right, you're boring me. They don't like Charlie Kirk, and they want to make sure they let everybody know that Matt Shaw likes Charlie Kirk and is friends with him. And I guess they're mad that Erica, the widow, invited him to the memorial and said, "I'd like you to come." She texted him and said, "I'd like you to come." But there you go. The Mets are mad about that. The Mets announcers, shame on them. They can say what they want, but shame on them. You know, you could say it without being negative. You could say Matt Shaw went to Charlie Kirk's funeral. There's been some commentary, some negative commentary, but he chose to go, and it's playing out. We'll see how that goes. You know what I mean? Anyways, I don't need to tell them what to do. They wanted to get their knives in, and they did. Here we go. We're gonna have James Clyburn come. Oh, censorship. You know, we learned yesterday that YouTube, Facebook, Google were tremendously pressured by Biden to ban all of us people that wanted to tell the truth about COVID, and including, by the way, Dan Bongino was kicked off of YouTube, which famously made him go to Rumble, which made him wildly successful. But here is James Clyburn and talking about censorship, and he's asked about this. Well, wait a minute, Biden did all the censorship. He in an Orwellian manner, pushed everything and tried to force and threatened these social media outfits to ban the truth about COVID.
Well, I don't think they're the same, simply because Biden, if any of this took place, these weren't jokes. This wasn't a TV show. This was a pandemic. And we didn't need to have misinformation going out.
It wasn't misinformation. It was truth. What you mean to say is you didn't want the truth going out. We didn't need truth going out. We was a pandemic. We were rigging it.
About this pandemic.
And about Hunter Biden's laptop and about the election, Russia.
There was enough coming from the president at the time. Put Clorox in your veins? That's the kind of foolishness the Biden.
Oh, the Biden was making sure that people like Dan Bongino or Chris Crock couldn't go on social media and say, put bleach in your veins. Nobody thought. That's still funny talking about it today. Nobody thought that was real. Nobody thought that was real. Oh, I got to grab something. I got to reach over here and just grab some kind of BS Clorox, bleach, yetha. Meantime, Turning Point USA just announced that they will be continuing the campus tour for Charlie Kirk. Some big names will be filling in for Charlie. Here's what we got so far. Tucker Carlson, that's awesome. Megyn Kelly, that's awesome. Governor Glenn Youngkin, Glenn Beck, Mike Lee, Utah Senator, Andy Biggs, Congressman from Arizona, Jeff Landry, Governor of Louisiana, and Vivek Ramaswamy, who hopefully will be the next governor of Ohio. So...